The market for clear bags at sporting events and concerts keeps growing and growing. On this episode of Decoration Myths, we're going to make you feel more comfortable about decorating on PVC bags and jackets. Welcome to another episode of Decoration Myths. I'm Stephen Barrett, S&S Activewear.
And I'm Josh Ellsworth with STAHLS.
So Josh, we've got a tricky subject, clear PVC bags. So I probably get an email every week on something like this. We have PVC jackets that are clear. How do you decorate this without scorching and just frying the bag?
Yeah, it's a challenge, to be honest, and we're going to struggle with this in this episode, and that's intentional. We've decorated these successfully with heat transfers in the past, but we want to expand that a little bit to really see what's possible with decoration so we can bring different types of logos to life for different opportunities. So number one, we want to consider that this is highly meltable, as you might imagine.
And we're dealing with heat.
With this, not such a great thing. So of course we want to look for lower temperature solutions when we're decorating these bags. Something else we want to consider is how pliable the plastic or the PVC material is when it's heated, and potentially release coatings or indentation marks happening from the paper backing or the clear backing that's on our heat transfer itself. So we're going to discover all of that today across a variety of items. So let's first talk about this particular bag.
Yeah, so this is the OAD 5005, and this is a clear bag that's stadium ready. So these have really gained in popularity because you need a clear bag to enter a major stadium and concerts now. So we've been getting a lot of requests to, I need this bag, but how do I decorate it?
Good.
Right?
Yeah, and we're going to bring this to life with a single color logo, kind of a saying or a lifestyle inspired piece that you could imagine anybody having in their closet and pulling out when they go to that stadium or to that game. So let's head over to the heat press and get it started. So we have the Hotronix Fusion IQ that we're going to be using in today's episode. First thing, low temp, as I mentioned. So 260 degrees on the temperature. We're going to want to be really low. And that's a good setup on the heat. So we're already to 260 degrees. We're going to start our work there. Now, of course, there are lots of straps and different obstructions with this bag. And so we want to limit all of that risk area by changing the bottom attachment. And so if you don't mind holding this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to swap off this bottom attachment. Just slide off the 16 by 20, which is the standard size. And then let's load a more appropriate size for that stadium bag. So 6 by 10 inches, lock that into position.
Easily done.
Yep, and now I should be able to hopefully split this bag completely around the platen with a cantilever design and get to a nice flat pressing area.
Nice. So I'm noticing like the wrinkles, like I'm already nervous, right?
Yeah.
You see the wrinkles in the bag. So
well, you know what? Because I realized something after I just loaded this that I did not know about the bag.
Yeah.
And so it has a nice pocket.
Oh, nice.
Right? And so if I were to just press it like
outside,
this, that pocket wouldn't work anymore. So I have to figure out if I can get that pocket around this. So super challenging. But you can see the threadability, and it's not going to squeeze. I'm afraid I'm going to damage the bag. So no problem. Let's just rotate this 90 degrees.
Call an audible.
Call the audible. Now let's see. And we get down to a single layer. And so you start to minimize those wrinkles and everything that you have in there. Making sure I have it centered up. And now we're ready to start decorating.
Nice.
So not quite good enough yet.
Yeah.
Change the platen. Want to make sure I check my pressure. I'm going to put a cover sheet on top of the bag as I'm checking my pressure. And because I'm working on a super small surface, 6 by 10 inches, I hardly need any pressure. I really just need kind of the weight of the platen, okay? And so in that process, it should have flattened it out. You can already feel it, starting to want to get warm and melt a little bit. So
it's soft.
You don't have a lot of room for error here. And so we've selected a heat transfer material. In this case, the product's called Ultra Weed. and it's cut on a vinyl cutter, or a decorator can order these pre-done if they don't want to cut and prepare them. And I'm going to position that into place. Of course, you just order it whatever color you want. Now, I'm worried that this carrier, this clear carrier, it's probably tough to see, but there's a clear carrier here.
Sure.
That's what would leave like a little bit of a crease or an indent mark on here.
Got it.
Okay. And so not only am I worried about melting the bag, I'm worried about indenting the surface. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put as little time as possible, just enough to get it to temporarily adhere to that bag and get rid of that carrier.
Sure.
Okay. So for that, let's just try tacking it. I'm going to start with like 2 seconds.
And just keep checking it, right?
Yeah,
like
just
it's
doing
better
a check
to be
here,
careful.
Right? But once you specify it and dial it in, now I can run the whole thing, right? So I'm just going to grab this corner. Okay, 2 seconds, pretty
We're all
good.
waiting.
And you notice I'm kind of doing it gingerly because I'm looking for any lifting at all. I know that's not on there where I would give it to a client to stay, but it's on there enough to get rid of this clear carrier. Nice. So I'm going to get not an indentation or even less. Like if you look closely, you can even just see where that carrier was. Yeah, you can kind of
see where the adhesive was left behind. But,
and imagine if you would have pressed that at 300 degrees for 15 seconds, like the bag would have been done. You would have had an indent. It wouldn't be the quality that we want. And so now for my second phase is I can put this back over if I want to be quick, and I can just press this for another few seconds at this temperature. But what I like to do to ensure the bond is I switch over to this rubberized pad. We call this a flexible application pad. And so it's always important to have a variety of cover sheets in your business. I use this one to decorate faux leather handbags and shoes I've used before. So I'm pretty confident that you're going to have success on this bag. Now, whenever you're switching and adding that thickness, you need to add more time. So I'm going to go ahead. We usually recommend adding an extra 20 seconds when you're using this cover.
Sure.
I'm just going to run the whole application at 260 degrees, 20 seconds. Do you know any of your clients that would launder a clear bag?
No.
So I'm not worried about laundering the clear bag.
They
I'm
would
just
definitely
trying to
wipe that down.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I'm trying to get enough of a hold, but I don't need where it's going to be wash and dry and 50 dry cycles. That would be ridiculous for the intention of this bag and what it's used for. So 260, 20 seconds with the cover sheet.
Wow.
Let's see how we did. And you got to be really careful here because the bag's warm. You don't want that pocket touching together. And so let's just try to get a little bit of a break from the platen. Right, just kind of, it's very soft. And then I'm moving it off. And then we have our completed look. So once it comes back to shape, I'll let that make contact, no issue. But I don't want it to kind of make contact and hold in that position while it's still hot.
I mean, this looks so great. I mean, you just upgraded the bag. Because, I mean, these are relatively on a fair price point.
Yeah.
And so the biggest question was, how do you decorate it? Right? So now, finesse.
Yeah, and it's possible. Yeah. And I like to, when I'm examining this, you're seeing a little bit of the texture from that pad.
Sure.
So if I were running this again, you know what I would do is I would probably place a non-stick cover sheet. It's like a Teflon material in between the two pieces. And so once we get to the backpack, I'm going to try that. We'll see if we get any improvement with picking up that texture of that pad.
Absolutely.
So let me grab the backpack here.
Yeah, so the backpack, this comes to us via Liberty Bags. It's the 7010. And, the ideal use here is a lot of schools like to have the clear backpacks coming in and out of school. But we've also had a lot of people request this for field trips, right? Because then everything's accessible, you know what's going. And then parents who like to travel with little Johnny and Susie, you like to see, did they pack everything? So it's just a quick reference because you got to get out of the door. So this is another challenge. Here we have that kind of outside pocket a lot of people would look at. But then you have this nice decoration area here, which I think could be really cool.
And I think you can hit both of these. It's just a matter of your design and what you want to accomplish. If I were decorating this pocket, I would probably switch to a little 4x4 attachment, thread it the way we just did on the last one. But we really want to press ourselves here a little bit. We did an oversized full color design. And so for this, I'm going to use this 6x10 attachment again because it's large enough for my design. The other thing I want to point out is we have what's called a quick slip cover on this attachment. So again, the Teflon material helps the bag kind of release and not stick to anything. So using that, making sure it's not creased at all, so it's not going to leave any marks. on the bag, but same thing. This cantilever design of the heat press is so critical for success on bags in general, but especially clear bags. Now, this one.
So this one, you got a lot of zippers. You got some thread in there.
Yeah, and it's just not perfect in that print location. Like, it's going to be really challenging for me to hit that print location. You see what's happening
because
here?
you don't have the full coverage.
Yeah, I wish, and we don't make this because it would be such a niche use, but I wish I had kind of like that arch on the top of there to be able to fit this perfect. I don't have it, and so let me call timeout here and see if I can grab another platen.
But I mean, a lot of this, you could adjust your artwork as well. So I mean, it's all about that prep time.
Well,
we've always talked about is you're going to look at this beforehand with confidence that you can do it, but you can adjust your artwork to fit the piece.
Yeah, adjust your artwork. And honestly, in this case, it's a lot about the platen because I'm trying to get rid of this area of the zipper because if that's on the surface, those two areas are going to melt together, right?
Gotcha.
And so I'm trying to get that off of the edge, and I just don't have the space here to be able to make that happen in an effective way. And so a couple different decision points here. I'm going to start by trying to switch to my 4x4 attachment, which is a lot smaller here. If you wouldn't mind handing me that.
Yeah, no problem. Gotcha.
Thank you. And then I might be able to, it's still going to be a little bit too small here. Let me think of another option. You know, I suppose we could decorate it and I can choose another logo because that is the right attachment. You see how that's fitting in there perfectly?
Absolutely. You got a dead center right there.
Right, and there's no
full coverage.
PVC kind of meeting itself in the back. And so I think that's going to be the correct attachment for me. So I'm going to grab some more appropriate artwork that meets that logo area.
We got artwork. I like it.
Yeah, so same product, just different design. And again, we could definitely design this for a school or something like that to hit this location, this design. To your point, step in front of the press, make sure everything's straight here. And same difference. So in this case, we are again using a
clear transfer,
clear backing, and it's a digital transfer. And that's why we're getting all of the color. So let's go ahead and try to get that to tack again. I'm going to kind of do a little test on this non-stick cover sheet.
So this is the non-stick that when we did the tote, you were saying maybe we hit that.
Yeah, because I was using the craft paper and the flexible application pad, which was more the rubberized cover sheet last time. Here I moved to the non-stick, and that just, I think, matches the texture a little bit better. Again, tacking it. Peeling it nice and easy.
Wow.
And now I'm going to go hit it again. This is fun. Like, we're doing this live, right? And so this is going to be really tough for the camera to see. But if you notice, there's a little bit of texture to the outside. That is the actual pad coming from underneath. Because did you notice the difference here? And I failed to calculate this. On the first one, we had the very smooth surface underneath because it had that cover.
Yes.
On this one, I don't have a cover on it, right? And so that's giving me that texture that's coming through. So maybe third time's the charm, but we're going to go ahead and at least finish this one and teach the correct ways. I'm going to try to grab that cover sheet. Again, laying this on top first for my completion application. Then I'm going to grab, going to grab my rubberized flexible application pad. This is just protecting the item, right? So doubling up here, and then we should be good to go to run it for that full 20-second application.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, this has been great, right? Because you have to work through these things because it's not an easy thing when you look at a clear bag, especially with heat. So I like it.
Yeah, and we're specifying it now for you, so you can just pick this up and decorate and know the right technique. So getting rid of any textures, leveraging the non-stick cover sheets, the Teflon sheets on the top and the bottom of the bag, as we learned. And then what that should do is it should give you a nice completed finish. So here we have the completed finish, full color logo. Don't let it touch while it's hot. Let it cool down. Full color logo really stands off. It's definitely on there. That logo is not coming off at all.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's just getting rid of this. And so we're going to try some additional things here.
So this is what we always talk about. Order a little extra product, right? Sample it and then work through it. So you guys can, figure it out. And then it's a smooth process. I mean, this wasn't a lot of time. We had a couple hiccups, but you got it.
Yeah, and we still have one more left to go.
Yeah, we do. We do.
And this one, I think we're going to be able to do everything we want. But let's explain the product and the opportunity.
So the product this comes from Augusta Sportswear. This is the 3160. This is their clear PVC jacket. So originally designed for kind of spirit, so cheerleading. So if there's a downpour, you can show the team colors through a clear jacket. But recently, we've had a lot of inquiries of like staff, security, that they want to, if there's weather, throw it over their t-shirt, whatever, in the summertime, and then you see staff on the back. So again, it's all about the being clear that you can see the original.
Yeah, any outdoor event that has company staff working and being uniformed, this is a great option for. So great, especially for the spring, summer, fall seasons where we're getting some weather and some rain. Perfect opportunity. So let's get this one loaded on. I'm going to have you hold the jacket.
But this is, when you feel this product, I mean, this falls right into that poncho category, right? It's a quick throw on, but it's 100% PVC. So it's staying right in line with our myth here that you can't decorate it.
Yeah, and this one's great because of the print area, I'm going to use the Teflon cover on the bottom, right? And so I'm going to get a nice smooth surface on the bottom. I'm going to split the jacket, get rid of all that seam structure and get to that left chest print location. Everything's going to stay consistent here, where I'm going to cover it, trying not to introduce new textures to it with that non-stick cover sheet. So smooth on smooth with just the clear in between.
I like it.
Let me just feel for the pressure here, which is great. It's only like a 3, which is like the weight of the platen on that item. And you can feel this, looks good.
That's a successful iron.
Yep,
right there.
And I'm going to grab an extra transfer here. So I have an extra set of transfers here. Let's just trim one off. Again, we're going to use the same tourism agency theme. Position that into place. Zipper's completely off the edge. Cover it with the non-stick cover sheet. And again, just the tack.
Great.
Few seconds. Really limiting any damage that can cause. Nice and easy peel.
Yeah.
Because I can see like the edge of this T is lifting up as I'm peeling, which means every PVC item just reacts a little bit differently, but it's enough to kind of babysit it just to get that carrier off. Just want it held into position.
That's great.
Make sure everything stays in place, making sure there's no wrinkles.
I mean, I find it amazing that just hitting it for 3 seconds is already starting to adhere to the product.
Yeah, and you see the wrinkles that happened there when I was really scared. So I'm just making sure it's completely flat so that doesn't fold over on itself and damage.
Sure.
And again,
and it's also interesting, like you had mentioned the T slightly coming up. You can push it a little bit and get that off because we're going to hit it again.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I just provided a little bit of hand pressure there to get it to hit it, and then we should have 100% success this time.
Nice. Nice.
So let's walk back through in those 20 seconds of challenges. First one, I made direct contact with the rubberized textured cover sheet on the top. That left these marks, even though my bottom was completely smooth. Second one, I accidentally used the texture underneath, which impacted the finished result. This one, we have completely smooth on smooth. So a smooth Teflon sandwich.
We just needed a little warm up.
And then I have a much better finished result. And so you're not getting any of the texture
for sure
coming through at all. So I'd say third time's the charm, and something that
Absolutely.
can be reproduced.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to caution people on using like screen printed transfers or direct to film transfers or anything that's not like a vinyl on these, because there are release coatings often in the manufacturing of those carriers. And what you'll find is you can't do that technique where you tack them for just a couple seconds to get it off. And so you'll find that you're going to get that carrier border and that carrier edge on all these products, unless you're using more of a heat transfer vinyl type of transfer that applies at a low temp.
So that's the key.
That's the key.
I love it. Well, this was a fantastic episode. Thank you, Josh, for working through everything. And as usual, you can find all the styles that we looked at on the links below. And thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks.